Okay. Good evening and welcome to this regularly scheduled meeting of the Sahuarita Unified School District Governing Board. Please join me and please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Much. We will move into the roll call. Ms. Palacios.
Governing Board President Denise Reese.
Here.
Governing Board Clerk Dr. John Sparks.
Present.
Governing Board Member Anthony Bruno. Governing Board Member Amy Petersmark.
Present.
Governing Board Member Raul Rodriguez, absent. District Administration Superintendent Dr. Manuel Valenzuela.
Present.
Chief Financial Officer Lisette Huey.
Here.
Assistant Superintendent Darlene Robinson, absent. Assistant Superintendent Scott Downs.
Here.
Thank you very much. We will move on to the approval of the agenda. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, Madam President Reese, members of the board, I'd recommend approval of the agenda as it was revised.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll move on to the approval of the minutes. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, President Reese. I was noticing that rarely do we have this many minutes to approve. We have the minutes in your packet, the minutes from the regularly scheduled meeting of the board back on May 7th, in addition to the many public gatherings of the board that define this time of the year, including the community conversation to talk about the cell phones and the screen time, the retiree celebration back on May 13th, the 8th grade promotions on May 20th, the Sahuarita High School and SDPA graduation on May 21, and the corresponding Walden Grove High School and SDPA graduation on May 22. And after your review and consideration, I recommend approval of all of those minutes.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will move on to the superintendent report. Dr. Valenzuela.
Well, as we know, the school year has successfully come to an end, but the beat just goes on. And I'd like to take just a moment just to make a couple comments. One is, all of our career and tech, we have at least 20 career and technical education programs, and they all compete in an assessment called the Arizona Technical Skills Assessment. They do it all over the state, and I'm pleased to share that the results were recently shared, and several of our teams ended up in the top 30. I'll highlight just a couple that finished around the top 10. Construction technology was number 3. Architectural drafting was number 5. Film and TV was number 8. Law and public safety was number 12. So as we like to say around here, Sahuarita continues to shine. I'd also like, speaking of shining, I'd like to congratulate the class of 2025. I was looking at this very nice story that was done by the Green Valley News today, and they cited the final number. We had almost 600 graduates among all of our 3 schools, SDPA, Walden Grove, and Sahuarita High School. And collectively, they earned about $18 million in college and other post-secondary training scholarships, which is an all-time high. I don't know a year that we've not upped the previous year's high, which is what we should be about, continuous improvement. And with that, for this evening, I think I will close my report and turn it back to you, Madam President.
We will move on to the governing board reports. Dr. Sparks.
Thank you, Madam President. I think all I'd like to say is it's always a pleasure to attend graduation with every students promote and then graduate and move on into the world. And I think this deceptively calmer period of time in the school district world, I know many people think that the schools just stop working and nothing goes on right now in the summer or off on vacation, but I don't think anything could be farther from the truth. I don't know an administrator or someone working at a school that's not working hard right now. And while teachers may not be on campus, I don't know any that are not working and prepping for the next season. So, but grateful that the year ended well and everybody stay cool. It's hot time here, so That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Bruno?
Yeah, I'm just going to say that I enjoyed all the graduations and seeing the students go through. It gave me a minute to think back, and this was actually the 17th graduation I have actually participated in. Whether it was my own graduation here at this school district or the many that have come along. And they've all been wonderful events, and it's always a pleasure to listen to the valedictorians and see their take on life and future like, and maybe some cynicism in my background just kind of says wait and see. But it's nice to see that we have students with high ideals, high expectations, who can go out and change the world. So I look forward to next year's.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Ms. Petersmark?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I wanted to congratulate the class of 2025 too, and then all of our eighth graders on their promotions to high school. And I saw some of the new freshman basketball players at Walden the other day, and they were really nervous. So adorable, but I just kept telling them, you're going to have so much fun. Just enjoy every moment. And as Tony and Dr. Sparks said, the events were amazing. So thank you for everyone for all your hard planning. I see some of you in the audience there. Thank you, thank you. They're incredible. The eighth grade promotions were so much fun. We were just commenting, Mrs. Robinson and I, on all the car decorations, and everybody was just laughing and smiling. And the graduations for the seniors were phenomenal. It was just like a sea of people in both stadiums. It was incredible. Had so much fun. So thank you all so much. And again, like Tony said, I just can't wait to see what next year brings. And hopefully everyone gets to relax a little bit this summer and recharge. So thank you again to everybody.
Thank you very much. I'm going to do a slightly different bent. I got to attend the retirement celebration for our faculty and administrators and such that are retiring. And graduation's a little bit of a blur for me. I had my own senior graduating, so specific details about those couple of days are a little blurry, but I did get to go to the retirement celebration. It's always such a fantastic thing, and I really appreciate our district being able to celebrate those individuals, some of whom had over 30 years of service in our district. So it was really neat to see those people sort of get ready to start their next chapter. So congratulations to our retirees, and of course to our class of 2025, our classes of 2025. Mm-hmm.
To actually thank the parents that are here that supported their students, and also the staff who supported the events, whether they were parking cars or supporting people on the field and helping people go in and out. This kind of event wouldn't happen without a team effort. And it's good to know that we all support our kids. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we do not have any awards or recognition this evening, so we will move on to call to the public, which we don't have either. So we will move on to item 8, new business, letter A, 2025-26 IFBs, RFPs, RFQs. Dr. Valenzuela.
It's kind of a mouthful to get it all out, but basically these are contracts that were originally approved by the board on a multi-year contingency, which is they're like 3 or 5 years, but they're subject to renewal each year. So we talk a lot about bond these days. We have Core Construction as our construction company, Swayman Associates as our architect, Heinfield and Meach, who's here this week, by the way, is our public accounting auditing firm, Wells Fargo and banking. I see that Susie and Raul are here from Southwest Food Service, which we're very grateful to have them here, our partner in child nutrition. And the one that I just want to mention, just in the interest of communicating clarity, is one of the renewals is for waste management. So if you've been following what's going around in the town, you might wonder, well, the town's going to a single source provider, so how are we using somebody else? So we do have them on a multi-year contract. And the provisions of that town action pertain only to residential properties. So commercial and public entities like ours are exempt. And I will say, just as a point of general record, that we were able to get a very competitive rate with waste management for our purposes. So thank you, Lizette and Florence, for your efforts with that. And with that, again, these are renewals. We're grateful for our partners in this important work we do, and I'd recommend approval of the 25-26 IFB, RFP, and RFQs as presented in your packet.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, I just want to thank you for the clarification on the waste management one. So thank you very much. And I'm excited to see this list and that we're on renewals because I know that the process of going through those is intense.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
So,
Very intense.
Thank you.
That's right.
Yay. So perfect. Thank you very much. So any other comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will move on to 8B, the Town of Sahuarita Traffic Light, IGA. Dr. Valenzuela.
Town of Sahuarita traffic light, and I would be remiss if I didn't honor the request of our friend and colleague, the Honorable Mayor of the Town of Sahuarita, Tom Murphy, who, as we know, sat in these chairs for many years as well. He wanted to make sure that I conveyed that the town enthusiastically approved this item by unanimous vote last evening. And this, I think this project just exemplifies kind of the DNA, how we're wired, the spirit of collaboration and cooperation, and how we seek common ground. We're all, if we've been around a while, and or maybe have been parents in the district for a while, or if you've just driven by the road, I don't think it's officially called this, I call it Walden Grove Way. It's the road that leads into Walden Grove. And you know that it's a lot of cars going into that space, particularly 2 times of the day, at the beginning and at the end of the school day. I know we've worked really hard. Creston Elkert is here. Creston has done a lot of work to put little barriers and those little yellow sticks that come out of the ground to help prevent the kids from making illegal U-turns in the roadway and things like that, all in the name of safety. And we've been talking about a street light, and they have engineering standards. Most of us aren't engineers, but thankfully there are good engineers that have at last come to that realization that it does meet the standard and we can move forward. So this agreement is really, really exciting in that on a few notes. One, it represents our cooperation and our culture. Second, it was approved last night by the town of Sahuarita. In a nutshell, what it entails is they've already been doing engineering for the whole last year, but what's exciting is they're ready to move into the action phase. The agreement is basically simple. We pay for half, they pay for half. Half is $148,105.52. And Lizette, in her visionary thinking and planning, has already been saving and tucked away that money. So we are ready to, of course, comply with the terms of this. But the super exciting thing is, in speaking with the mayor and the city manager, is that pending your approval this evening, they're going to make it kind of like their mission to try and get it done by the time that school starts. Again, barring factors outside of their control. So I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a step forward in safety. It's a full signalized light with arrows. And I heard an extended, what do they call that thing where they cut it away? It's like the stack. They're going to make it extra long because we know the stack's pretty big. So really excited about that in the name of the safety of our young peoples and especially our young drivers going into that school. So with that, I would recommend approval of the Town of Sahuarita Traffic Light IGA as is presented.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Madam President,
Yes.
just grateful this is coming to fruition. I think
Yeah.
this has been on the plate for a while. I think was headed towards us obtaining it a few years ago, got waylaid by other factors, but now back. And I'm grateful that town unanimously supported it. And I'm glad we have that opportunity because I do really think it will improve the safety of that section. Grateful that getting this stuff. Thankful for everybody's hard work getting it done and for saving the money so we can spend it.
Mhm.
I just
Thank you,
want to
Madam
ditto
President.
that because this has been an issue for years. And I'm sorry you guys have heard about it from all of us parents over and over. So thank you to everybody for collaborating and just like Dr. Sparks said, making our children safer. So thank you so much. Thank you, Lizette. You're awesome. So appreciate it.
Anything else? All right. We will proceed to vote. Seeing no more discussion, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Oh, thank you so much. And I just want to, I think it's fitting that Principal Miller's here in what I know is the last few of her meetings here in her tenure as principal at Walden Grove High School. I think it's fitting that she's here when the board approves this. I know she's been a champion for that object, and I know they've both worked really, really hard to try and promote the safety there. So thank you. Thank you for your support with that.
All right, we will move on to 8C, Town of Sahuarita Police Officer Physical Aptitude Test, IGA. Dr.
Affectionately
Valenzuela.
known as POPAT. It's a whole new word in my vocabulary, and I want to begin by thanking Creston Elkert, Mr. Elkert, who, as you know, we've given additional duties besides his very busy full-time work as assistant principal. He has particular expertise and passion for the topic of safety, which we know is one of the board's strategic directions. And so in his effort, Creston works very closely with the Sahuarita Police Department, Commander Amato and our police chief and other commanders and leaders over there to look for opportunities to do safety better. And this is an example of that. As you know, the police officers in their recruitment phase, they have to go through physical training and physical standards that they have to meet. And they've had and we've cooperated with them. They have to set these things up, do the test, take them down. So in addition, we have, as you heard, a very well recognized law and public safety training program through our CTE program. And so it's mutually beneficial for us. And we have what we're going to do basically in this agreement, which was largely done by Creston connecting dots with our partners across the street, is we're basically going to pay. We believe we have JTED available qualified funds for this. It's about $5,000 to pave that space that used to be the heavy equipment operation place. And then we're going to more permanently affix these obstacle structures, you know, the walls and the things you jump over and under and things like that. And so they're going to use it for the recruits and for they have to do recertification. And then we get to use it for our law and public safety students, maybe even physical education, athletics, others. So it's mutually beneficial. And the other thing that in just promoting this dialogue and conversation, Creston was able to find is the ability to request, and with the police department's enthusiastic support, they're going to, with this agreement, they're going to donate 3 of they're older, but they're the modern style of the SUV police vehicles, patrol vehicles, so that our law and public safety students, can have an opportunity to train in the various facets of law enforcement practice with equipment that's more modern. And the last one is going to be used for support and advancement of our district safety coordination efforts, which Creston is leading, so he can use it to advance safety goals. So it's, again, another example of collaborate, find common ground, cooperate, win, win, win. It's how we do things around here. And with that, I'm pleased to recommend the approval of the Town of Sahuarita Police Officer Physical Aptitude Test, IGA, as it's presented.
Recommendation, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Madam President,
Yes.
super grateful this has taken place. Is this a similar function as a few years back we had an agreement with local police department for use of the practice field on the back side of the stadium at SHS? Remember they had a thing on the fence?
Yes.
And we're using, so this is replacing that location, and it
Yes.
will now become the permanent kind of, that was a few years back.
Yes, sir.
But that is now, I mean, not as fat back as Tony, but I mean,
Oh,
so this is
Yes.
replacing that.
yes, sir.
Okay. I figured that in my head. It sounded pretty similar. So,
But as you mentioned, we'd put it up and then we'd have to take
Yeah.
it down. And now this gives it a more sense of
Permanent.
permanence. Yes.
that's awesome.
Okay. Yeah, that is really cool.
That's it, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
I have a question on the timeline.
Yes.
When will this be finished?
Creston's here. Creston, as soon as Creston can get him to move on it. Sounds like an obstacle course to me.
Thank you.
And I would say an additional point is that we've already vetted it through our insurance trust, for safety purposes. So we're all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. We're just ready to go forward and very excited about this.
All right, any more discussion?
Darn that.
Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we are on 8D, the Elevate MOU. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, Mrs. Reese, members of the board. This is actually a really exciting project because, again, it demonstrates how we need to intentionally find new and adaptable ways to monitor the current landscape of education, identify needs, find common ground, and collaborate. This one came to us through our Sahuarita Wins meetings that we meet every month. And Randy Graff, who we know has been a longtime resident, former state legislature, and this gnat's bugging the dickens out of me. Randy is the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce. And so in his chamber circles, the state chamber group, he learned about a program in Phoenix called Elevate AZ Ed. And what they do, excuse me, I think I got that gnat in my mouth, but it's gone now.
Protein.
Yeah, and it's what they've done is they work with their local chamber to staff high schools with qualified counselor, advisor, coaches that are focused on a specific mission, advising students for success, programming, education, and workforce placement in the high demand, high wage pipeline jobs that support our overall economic needs. And so we, through this project, have been identified, as far as I know, we're the first district this side of the Gila River, because it's been done in Maricopa County, and they're trying to expand. And, I told Randy that if they put it on us, we will do it well, and we will implement it with true fidelity. So what this agreement will do is it will provide 2 full-time advisors. They'll be employed by the chamber, but vetted to all of our standards for background checks, qualifications. They'll be supervised. There'll be additional counseling resources to our both of our high schools, one for Walden, one for Sahuarita High, and they'll be housed there. They'll be part of our counseling team. They'll just be focused on this particular niche of advising, but it lowers the ratio, if not general ratio. It provides one more adult who's there to help kids along their educational and career pathway. Now, it has limits. It's 2 years where they commit the funding as long as they have the funding, but it's a 2-year commitment. They're always looking at sustainability, and of course, it's something that we would like to sustain too. But coming out of the gate, it's more resources with nominal, if any, cost to us. And again, it's win-win for education, it's win-win for economic development, it's win-win for workforce. It's been successful in Maricopa, and we're honored to have the opportunity to launch it here in Pima County. So I would recommend approval of the Elevate MOU. It's been vetted by legal on all sides, and because we get the Phoenix Chamber, the Sahuarita Chamber, Green Valley, and then our people. And we've looked at it, and it's been vetted carefully for data privacy and all those things that we've got to look at very carefully. And I'm pleased to recommend the board's approval of the Elevate MOU as presented.
Recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
President.
Dr. Sparks.
Thank you for the explanation, but I do have a couple quick questions about the individuals that will be hired to fulfill that role. Will they hold high school counseling certifications degrees. I know we have.
If you think about JTED and how the certification they have to have qualifications and meet certain standards, but the JTED faculty has different criteria that's more referenced on workforce achievements and credentials. I think this is the same. I don't know, and I read it. I don't know that I saw that
I
it
did.
mirrors a traditional high school counselor, but it is, the job description is pretty explicit about what they're able to do and background and them being able to do what we're asking them to do.
So I totally agree, and I'm supportive of that. My only concern is that they're going to be in schools working with children, interacting with children, and so I think it's important that the auto shop instructor have auto shop experience. I think it's important that the construction instructor have construction experience.
Yeah.
The culinary arts program have culinary arts experience. My only concern is, are we hiring this person or are they?
I believe that they are going to be an employee of the chamber. I believe that we will have a voice in that hiring, and I do know because I've read it that the professional background criteria and experiences in understanding advising, understanding educational criteria, certification requirements. They will also be working at placing students in internships and things like that. What you're saying is very much in line with what the job description says, notwithstanding the fact that it's a little different than our traditional counselor. But your points are accurate in terms of need and value and necessity to achieve what we're trying to do.
And I'm not trying to say we have to hire a school counselor, right? But I think one of the things I just want to make sure, so in my perspective, then the person who fills this role should have experience in higher education academic counseling, right? Because hiring someone who just wants to do it or feels good about it or likes it doesn't mean they're bad people, but they don't have the experience of advising young people on their path through an academic career, which is a very different role, actually, even than what our regular counselors do in many cases, right? Because it doesn't have to be it's not necessarily college, but whether it be, being in the local union and going through a journeyman program, whether it be whatever program they're going to go, I'm just hoping that we have some say. That's all I really
Yes,
cared about.
and I would believe that the answer to your question is that the desired outcomes and criteria are a part of that job
Thank you.
description.
And I'm sad, but thank you. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Any other discussion? Mr. Bruno?
You can put doctor in front of it if you want. I just want to say that this is money coming from Maricopa County to our community, which is kind of ironic in the long run. If I dare say, it's coming from the great state of Maricopa. And that's kind of a nice thing. But I will also add that my understanding of the contract and the discussion was it is a pilot project.
Yes,
And it definitely has the 2 years.
yes.
And if we have students involved, my question is, what happens at the end of the 2 years to those students and where are they left if it doesn't come back? Do we have a plan for that?
I think the goal in the 2 years is for us to develop budgetarily, programmatically, a succession plan, a staffing plan, perhaps through additional counseling staff as we grow. Yes, in the worst case scenario, we are back to where we are at this point right now. That would be unfortunate, and I don't see it as foreseeable, but at this point, it's one of those reasonable risks based on the more likely return on investment, which is that our kids will be better off than if we don't have these resources right now. Notwithstanding the fact that we can't guarantee anything.
And I understand that, but I wanted to just clarify. So based on what you just said, are we talking about bringing it inside our budget?
That would be the objective in terms of defining sustainability is that somehow within our budget, we're able to support, which I will say is one thing that I've often said I'm grateful for our local school community's investment in our override, which gives us the relatively strong staffing ratios, but even the ratios that we have right now with guidance and advising are still outside of the national standards, right? So it's a step in the right direction, and I've talked to individual members in individual conversations where we've talked about the need to invest more on this to give students more individualized advising and preparation, whether they're going to college or to a journeyman training program, because our counselors at the ratios, although better than other school districts, are still not to the level of personalization that allow us to achieve that at the highest level. So yes, I would say the goal is to expand our services in this area.
Thank you.
Any
Madam
further?
President, I think
Dr. Sparks?
I'm grateful for what you asked. I think we've heard, I think reasonably and regularly, that while as a district, in some ways, we beat the state average for sure with total school counselors on sites, having school counselors in places some districts don't have. Right, every school, every middle school, every K-8 has two. I mean, we have some places, but I do know at the high school level in particular, and I would think and hope that if we were to continue this after the 2 years, this individual will be much more highly integrated into that standard model so that we can take the load off the individuals that are there and decrease the student to counselor ratio at the high schools. That would be the only thing I would add, just to hear me say that out loud, that right now we're restricted to what the contract says, and I'm grateful for the money. I think this is a great thing. I think we're going to be better off. It's a good program. I'm not in any way saying we shouldn't do it. I think at the end of those 2 years, this individual, if we do continue it, and I think that's a high likelihood, be integrated at that level so that they can handle some of the standard caseload of school counseling, because they would no longer be under the auspice of this contract. And I think all the high school counselors can hear me say that online, that we do care, that we're trying to bring that high school ratio down.
And the board has an established history of doing that. You may remember a few years ago, the board supported the JTED investment of career and college counselors, which is kind of similar. It's JTED money to support specifically career and college advising. It's part of the bigger umbrella. What I hear you say is this is another step in expanding our investment in college and career and counseling and advising services.
Any further discussion?
I'm just going to add that I do agree with John. I'm not opposed at all. And I just want to leave it at that.
Very well.
All right. If there's no more discussion, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, moving on to number 9, new business, the ASBA 2026 political agenda. In your packets, you each have both the 2025 political agenda, which was developed in the fall of 2024, and then we have our previous 5 top priorities that we listed when we did this meeting last year. Hopefully each of you has had a moment to sort of look at those and see as to whether or not we want to change anything, if we want to add anything for additional items, if we want to shuffle the order, whatever it is that we think is most important to this school district in terms of our priorities for at the state level to advocate for our district and all public school districts, but what those things are that most impact our district.
Madam President,
Dr. Sparks.
Every year we have this conversation, and these have generally consistent for a while.
Yep.
And while we may not be building a new school currently, we still do want to add on and have building construction that we've we had approved and then randomly cut to 9. Right. So I think it still makes sense to have it there. And
Correct.
from my perspective, I think without trying to wordsmith and trying to be overly critical of any individual word, individual topic or sentence or how it's worded, I still think these, at least from my perspective, still wholly meet the district's, I think the district needs from the ASBA as an advocacy. I don't know if there's anybody else who wants to add anything to it or change it, but that's my perspective.
The only thing that I had concerns with is that we sort of come up against this aggregate spending limit each year, the aggregate AEL, aggregate expenditure limit each year. And I think we had that conversation last year when we were looking at this and sort of said that should sort of be lumped in under equitable, sustainable, and dedicated funding source for education. And Lizette's shaking her head, so I know we did have that conversation. So I don't know whether we just want to list it under rationale or how we want to do it, but I do think that absolutely needs a permanent fix in our state legislature. It just drives public schools absolutely nuts every March, and I'm glad they fixed it this year when they set the budget, but I don't know that we really want to go through that every year. So I don't know whether we can add that under a rationale, Betsy, is just to make sure that the AEL is in there. And if anybody else has anything else for this, Tony. Okay. So if we can just add, including fixing the AEL situation under rationale for number 1.
So, Madam President, I make with that change, approve the issues for legislative committee consideration and request that they be submitted by Ms. Palacios.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Right. We will move on to, we need to select our, the ASBA Assembly Delegate and alternate for this year's ASBA, essentially their political agenda setting meeting, so their assembly. So I have served in that role both as the delegate or the alternate for the last, wow, it's actually been 5 years. And I am totally open to continue to serve in either of those roles. I know through individual conversations that I've had with a number of the people sitting up here at the dais that we're sort of all willing to serve in any of those roles, which is pretty par for the course for this board. So I don't have, if anybody has any strong feelings, if they want to continue to serve that, I'm open to anything.
Well, I think Raul's not here, so we should clearly volunteer him for something. But I think, and I think many of us serve in this position as a delegate relatively early on.
Mm-hmm.
I think I joined the board January 1st, and I was the delegate then.
I was in this position for a hot 3 weeks when I served as the
So,
alternate. So
I mean, I think, I don't know how Amy feels about that, but it's a really good opportunity to see how ASBA functions and really kind of start to meet people from across the state and integrate the process. And if you're willing, it does include additional Saturdays and additional meetings.
mm-hmm.
So the conference usually ends Friday
at noon,
Friday
and then you're
noon.
there Saturday morning
You're
for
there
the
Saturday
delegate
morning.
assembly.
So there is that component of it. I mean, and if I'm more than willing to serve as the alternate, because I'm probably be there anyway. So because I'm on the state board. So I don't know if that's something you thought of.
Yeah,
or
I don't
were willing
want
to do.
to jump in
Or
with
we
all
can make Tony do
feet,
it.
but yeah, the alternate, maybe that sounds a better idea than to jump in as the delegate.
And
If
I
that's
always
okay.
say, I apologize, I cut you off.
No worries, thank you.
I think because Tony's done it. You've served in ASBA in the past. And I've served in ASBA basically since I I'm familiar, and so have you. So I think it's just a good opportunity for you to, and it's really not the deep end. It's like the shallow end. It's all right. It's good. Get your feet wet.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Amy's the alternate. So now we just need to determine the delegate. Tony, did you want to serve in that delegate role this year? Okay. Perfect. So we actually probably need a motion for that.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
I make a motion to that Mr. Bruno, delegate for the year, and Ms. Petersmore is the.
we have a motion. Do we have a second?
You have to do it, I think.
I was
They
gonna say, I
don't-
don't think we
okay,
can second ourselves,
second.
right?
That works. Sorry, we're one short tonight, and you can tell. So it's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Right. Moving on to policy advisory, volume 37, numbers 1, 2, 3, on our second read. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. President Reese, members of the board, this is the very robust listing of advisories from ASBA. In a real simple summary, this is overwhelmingly policy advisories from ASBA that are related to their intentional efforts to streamline, reorganize, and update the policies, which by their own admission have become a little dated and in need of kind of a retooling and an update. So this is the second read. It was on the last one and it was tabled. So at this point, I would recommend approval of those noted policy advisories, volume 37, number 1, 2, 3, as presented for your approval at this time.
And Dr. Valenzuela, can we take these in one motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, goodness. Okay, we have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So, second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Any comments? I was curious. We have did he make any comments about these? after
I
we
did not
tabled
receive
them?
any comments. Betsy,
No.
did you receive any?
It's pretty typical. but
Right.
just-
Okay. Perfect. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, new business personnel, appointment of the Onza Trail Assistant Principal, Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, President Reese, members of the board. I begin just like with one simple observation. In the last year, since the last year, we have appointed 2 principals. You remember Mr. D'Souza, who's here. Also, Ms. De La Osa at Walden. And tonight is the 4th assistant principal appointment. And kudos and thank you, Scott, for the work you've done to develop our proactive, intentional leadership development programs, such as through NAU, where we have 2 of our teachers currently in a leadership development program. And it's like I say, if you do what you always done, you're going to get what you always got. And we're in a time where we got to push forward, adapt, innovate, and create new solutions. So to that point, this evening, I'm excited to bring to you another highly qualified candidate to be a member of our leadership team. I often say that the greatest investment you make is that which you invest in people. And this particular opening became vacant when, you might remember, Ms. Van Horbeck was appointed to move to be an assistant principal at Walden Grove High School, who took over from Ms. De La Osa, who was appointed as the new principal. So it's kind of like these domino effects kind of happen. And that's what you want in a way, is you want to develop a cadre of people. And so when this opening came up, this one I would note was led by Mrs. Robinson. Scott participated as well and has been kind of helping her in this process, but she did a very nice job, very thorough, multifaceted, comprehensive process with multiple stakeholders and multiple steps in the process, in-depth interview process. And I can tell you that once again, by strong consensus, I received a recommendation for the appointment of Courtney Vasquez for this role. Courtney and her family are here this evening. I'll begin. She has, as you'll hear, many credentials, but among them are the fact that she and her family are residents of our community. And they have 2 beautiful children who are here with them this evening and the whole family. Courtney began her teaching career about 11 years ago, and has spent most of her career in the Sunnyside School District. She began as a teacher at the Summit View School, Summit View Elementary School, after finishing her bachelor's degree in education at Valley City State University in North Dakota, where she was a student athlete there, played softball. Met her husband, I learned today, who happens to be from Tucson. I also learned something that I never knew, that Valley City State University is one of the nation's best, most highly regarded elementary professional training programs, which is, it's small. I don't think it's much bigger than one of our high schools, but it's really a strong teacher prep program. And after 8 years in the classroom, 3 years ago, I think she was appointed still in the Sunnyside School District as an instructional coach, where she's been responsible as an instructional leader for coaching, professional development, and building data-driven structures and systems to promote success. So she's very deeply rooted instructionally. Of course, I imagine at Anza Trail, these will be skill sets that will be well suited for leading the elementary side of the house, for working with teachers and coaching and promoting high academic achievement and the success of students. Another interesting tidbit about Courtney is that she completed her master's degree in educational leadership and administration from Northern Arizona University. And additionally, I learned that Courtney is a national board certified teacher in literacy and language. And we are very excited to have her joining our team pending your approval. And it's my recommendation, proudly, I might add, to recommend the appointment of Mrs. Courtney Vasquez as the new assistant principal at Anza Trail K-8 school.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Congratulations.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Dr. Valenzuela, governing board members, district administration, and members of the community. I wanted to thank you all for the amazing opportunity to serve as the assistant principal at Anza Trail. I'm both humbled and honored, as well as excited for this new chapter. I look forward to collaborating with the incredible team at Anza Trail to continue to support the success of our students and the school community. I'm excited to join the team over here. They have been super welcoming, as well as everybody else here, so I just wanted to express my gratitude. I'm truly grateful and eager to get started and to serve the community in this new role with passion and dedication. Again, just thank you guys all for the opportunity. I'm super excited to
Courtney,
be here.
could you introduce, you brought a lot of guests with you.
I did. I brought my whole family. We're small but mighty here. I have my husband, Cliff. He is obviously my number one supporter, always been. And then we have Emilio, my son. He's 9. He's going to be joining the Anza Trail family as well.
Hey.
He went through Sahuarita Primary School and the intermediate school, and now he's going to make the jump with me over to the team. And then we have little Zeke down here. He's not joining us yet, but he's going to be 3 in August. And then we have a daughter, Emily. She's at cheer practice tonight, so she couldn't be with us. But and then I have my brother-in-law, and then my father-in-law, and my mother-in-law. And that's our tiny but mighty family that we have here.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we shaking hands?
Aw.
We're shaking hands. We need to make her the walk. Just get used to it. We make a shaking hands.
Courtney knows the drill. She comes down and shakes
She's
our
watched the
hand.
video, I think.
Welcome aboard.
Super excited to have you. And you are not obligated to stay till the end. It's okay. You have small children, we understand. Sorry.
Doing laps here.
Thank you all so much for
Thank
being
you.
here this evening.
We will go on ahead and move into the consent agenda. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Reese, members of the board. You have a lengthy consent agenda, which again are routine matters that may be taken in one motion, and I do recommend approval of the consent agenda in its entirety this evening.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Madam President, I just want to
Yes.
say this agenda, consent agenda is always a little, it's always a little pain of sadness when you look
Mhm.
down and recognize and remember that the world marches on. Like people live their lives and and travel through their own experiences and move on, and always the list of separations, individuals leaving the district, especially this one. This is the big one, right? It's this, there's, and when you look down and you see, Mrs. Fry, who's been a mainstay at Sahuarita High School for a long time and beloved English teacher, and you look down even farther, you see another beloved English teacher, right? So there's lots of people on here we missed and loved, and I know Miss Martinson has taught many of my children 101 and 102 from Pima, and the last one's just really sad because had 102 left. And he said, anyway, that's all I have to say. It's always, bittersweet, right? Because we all know they're moving on to good things and have their reasons for moving on, which is totally appropriate, but just a little sad. Thank you, Madam President.
Absolutely. Any other discussion? Okay. Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will move on to, does any board member have any possible future agenda considerations that they would like to come before the board? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. We'll establish the next board meeting on June 11th here in this building at the 6 p.m. And then there is no executive session this evening, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you and for joining us this evening, and we'll see you next time.